Rain soaked the sidewalk as Ethan Ramirez rushed across the corporate plaza, his janitor uniform clinging to his back. He kept his head low as he pushed the cart toward the loading dock of the Glass Tower headquarters, home of Titanes Corp., one of the most powerful tech conglomerates in the world. Every night, he scrubbed its sleek marble floors, cleaned its frosted glass walls, and emptied bins filled with million-dollar ideas. Nobody ever noticed him. Nobody except his 6-year-old daughter, Maya, waiting at home, asleep on a thrift store couch, with a peanut butter sandwich half-eaten and her crayon drawings taped proudly to the peeling walls. Ethan had only this job. After losing his wife to an illness 2 years ago, Titanes became his lifeline, the job he worked to keep Maya fed, warm, and dreaming. But tonight was different. As he rounded the executive suite corridor, he heard footsteps, sharp, confident, echoing like a metronome of authority. Ethan turned instinctively, stepping aside with his cart. And there she was, Celine Ward, Theo, Ace Queen, Forbes's most powerful woman in tech, for 3 years running. Her expression didn't flicker as she approached, glacial blue eyes locked on her phone, stilettos clicking with precision. But then her gaze snapped up, and her stride halted. "You again." Ethan blinked. "Ma'am, this is the 3rd time this week my office hasn't been cleaned properly," she snapped. "I stepped in spilled coffee this morning." I cleaned it," Ethan stammered. "Maybe someone. I don't need excuses. I need competence." She took a step closer. "Is that too much to ask?" His mouth opened but no words came. "Not here. Not to her." "You're fired," she said simply, as if it meant nothing. "Security will escort you out." The hallway blurred. "But my daughter," he whispered. "I suggest you find another way to support her. Titanes doesn't run on sympathy." She walked away without looking back. By midnight, Ethan stood outside in the rain with a plastic bag of his belongings. His name tag, a half-eaten granola bar, Maya's drawing of Daddy at work, folded gently. He didn't cry. Not yet. Not until he opened the door to their small apartment and saw Maya fast asleep, wearing his oversized hoodie, surrounded by her paper castles. He turned away and wept silently. The next morning, Ethan woke early and did what he always did when life knocked him down. He cleaned the kitchen, bathroom, the old microwave. It was how he coped, until he saw the email. An anonymous message forwarded from an old Titanes friend still on the cleaning staff. Subject: Confidential Systems Audit. Titanes mainframe. Attached was a PDF. A technical report full of logs, suspicious IP addresses, and discrepancies in code access. A comment stood out. Backdoor vulnerability found in Quantum Pulse version 3.4. Potential for financial override. Needs escalation. Risk: catastrophic. Ethan stared. Quantum Pulse was the AI engine Titanes had just licensed to national defense, medical infrastructure, even global banking networks. If it failed, or was tampered with, he scrolled further. The report had been logged and flagged 2 months ago. But nothing had been done. And whoever submitted it, their name had been wiped. Ethan's heart pounded. He wasn't a tech expert, but he knew enough to recognize a pattern of cover-up. And one name kept appearing in the access logs. Devlin, Celine Ward's new CTO. The rising star she brought in after a secretive executive shuffle. Ethan had seen him once. Smiling. Charming. Too slick. The kind of man who wouldn't notice a janitor. Ethan swallowed hard. He could walk away. Start over. Forget Titanes. Forget Celine. But if this vulnerability was real, and Celine didn't know, billions of lives could be affected. And maybe, just maybe, Maya deserved a father who didn't back down. He opened a secure browser and started digging. 2 hours later, his eyes were bloodshot. The access pattern repeated across 3 regions. Transaction logs in the Titanes Foundation's medical AI had been altered subtly, enough to reroute microfunds into dead-end shell accounts. Millions had already gone missing. Ethan's hands shook as he typed an anonymous message and sent it to a whistleblower site. Then a second message, directly to Celine Ward's executive email. You're about to lose everything. Check Devlin's logs from April 14th. I know I'm just the janitor you fired, but trust me, your empire is under attack. He hit send. And waited. The reply came at 3 a.m. One line. Where did you get this? Ethan hesitated. Does it matter? You're welcome. Day passed. Then 2. No reply. No news. No headlines. Until Friday morning when the world changed. The Titanes stock halted trading. All internal systems were locked. Emergency encryption updates were launched across 37 countries. And Devlin, arrested at 7:14 a.m. on federal fraud charges. Ethan stood frozen, watching the breaking news unfold on a corner shop TV. Maya tugged on his coat, her small hand wrapped around a paper flower she'd made. Why are they showing your old job, Daddy? He blinked, smiled. Because I cleaned up something big. 3 hours later, a sleek black car pulled up outside their apartment. Celine Ward stepped out. Without heels. Without an assistant. Dressed in a black trench coat. She knocked once. Ethan opened the door, surprised. Miss Ward. She looked him straight in the eye. I owe you everything. Ethan stared at her. Celine Ward, fierce, poised, untouchable, was standing on his doormat like she was holding her breath for the first time in years. You're lucky I opened the door, Ethan said quietly. Most people don't get a second chance to fire me again. Celine didn't smile. Her eyes, however, were different now. No longer ice but something softer. Worn. Human. I didn't come here for apologies, she said. Though I owe you that. And more. She held out a folder. Ethan hesitated before taking it. Inside were printouts, screenshots, transcripts, all tied to Devlin's betrayal. Fraud, data manipulation, backdoor deals with foreign corporations. You were right about everything, she said. I didn't need to be right, Ethan muttered. I just needed to be heard. That silenced her. For a moment neither spoke. Maya peeked around the corner, clutching a cereal box and watching curiously. Celine noticed. That your daughter? Yeah, Maya. She draws unicorns, hates carrots, and knows more about constellations than I do. Celine crouched slightly and waved. Hi, Maya. Maya stared at her, unimpressed. You're the mean boss who fired my dad. Celine blinked, surprised, then let out a breathy laugh. Yes, I was. And I'm sorry. Maya tilted her head. Are you here to give him his job back? Celine stood up. Something better. She turned back to Ethan. Devlin almost destroyed the core AI that runs our medical and defense infrastructure. The only reason we caught it in time was because of you. And unlike some people, I believe loyalty should be rewarded. I wasn't loyal to you, Ethan said, crossing his arms. I was loyal to doing the right thing. Which makes you exactly the kind of person I want at my side. He frowned. What are you saying? Celine pulled out a second document, this one with a Titanes Corp letterhead. His name printed clearly. Ethan Ramirez, Director of Systems Ethics and Operations Review. A 6-figure salary. Full benefits. Remote flexibility. Private schooling for Maya. Ethan looked up, stunned. Why me? Because you saw what we missed, she said. You spoke truth when everyone else stayed quiet. And I don't need another yes man in a boardroom. I need someone who's not afraid to mop the floor when it's covered in lies. Ethan stared at the offer. I don't have a degree. I didn't even finish college. Celine shrugged. Devlin had 3 degrees. One of them was fake. The other 2 didn't stop him from nearly dismantling a $25 billion empire. He let out a slow breath, conflicted. This is a lot. You saved Titanes, she said, stepping closer. Let me return the favor. Silence stretched between them. Maya stepped up and tugged his sleeve. Daddy, if they pay you that much, can I get a unicorn that talks? Ethan laughed, a deep, real laugh that shook his chest. He turned to Celine. All right, I'll take it. But I don't wear suits. Good, she said, smiling. I hate suits. 3 months later, Ethan walked through the gleaming halls of Titanes again. But this time people noticed. A woman in HR nodded respectfully. Engineers paused their keyboards. Someone even offered him a coffee. At the far end of the hall, Celine stood waiting. Same sharp eyes, same fierce posture. But the frost had melted. You clean up nicely, she said, glancing at his shirt and jeans. I still think corporate bathrooms are cleaner than the cafeteria, he replied. Old habits. He smirked. You ready for the board meeting? Not really, he said. But I brought backup. He held up a USB stick labeled Unfiltered Truth in Maya's handwriting. Celine's smile faded into something more meaningful. Good. Let's shake them up. Inside the boardroom, Ethan watched the suits and ties shuffle papers and fake confidence. Most had ignored him before. Some were the same who'd praised Devlin weeks before his arrest. But now, they listened. As Ethan laid out his systems review, his new ethics protocol, and plans to make Titanes transparent from the bottom up, they couldn't look away. Celine leaned in, whispering, This is the first time they've shut up in months. He nodded. Maybe it's because I don't sound like one of them. You're not. And that was the point. By the end of the meeting, 3 things had changed. Titanes announced a new open-source ethics initiative, led by Ethan. Celine committed 5% of quarterly profits to support single-parent tech scholarships. Maya got a special visitor in school, Celine herself, attending her science fair and handing her a certificate that read, Future CEO of Titanes. When the photo went viral, former janitor's daughter inspires tech giant's new direction, Ethan didn't care about the headlines. He only cared that Maya was smiling, proud, and full of belief. That night, as they sat on their tiny balcony eating pizza, Maya looked up at him. You're like a superhero, Daddy. Ethan smiled, brushing her hair back. Nah, just a janitor who refused to stay quiet. Maya tilted her head. But you saved the world. He thought for a moment. Maybe just one corner of it. And that was enough.